Hello, lovely beings. Welcome to today's episode of Awaken Mindset. 'Tis I, your host and energy guide, Autumn Oakley. So, today's episode, I wanted to talk about ice baths and the wellness of that. So, something I've come to know with ice baths, and I know it's like, a really big thing right now, and it is something that I partake in, I guide in, and I freaking love ice baths. But one thing I did find at different periods of time over the years when I was partaking in cold immersion was that when my nervous system was dysregulated, when I was, in a state or a present moment for a period of time of dysregulation, of really chronic stress, it actually caused more harm than good. So that's what I want to talk about with ice baths and some tips that can help you on your journey to get comfortable with ice baths. And I know when we start ice baths, it's really uncomfortable. And that is something that, I love to guide people in my events and, just partake in myself to test the waters of how I'm feeling. Ice baths really help to bring clarity to the present moment of how you feel in your nervous system, how safe you feel. And that's really why I love cold immersion therapy and, saunas and hot therapy as well, is that it helps you to bring awareness to where you are not only in your body and experiencing those health benefits physically and mentally, but it helps you to understand energetically in your nervous system, what's going on with that, where you need to make some changes in life in general that's going to help you feel regulated, safe. And I think that's a really powerful tool. So I know that we really like ice baths and those details, and so do I. So I wanted to first share some tips with you. So if you are looking to embrace the newness of cold immersion, of ice baths, I know it can feel really hard. And you know what? Some days it is really hard, regardless if you do ice baths all the time. I know we always watch these, inspiring videos of people getting in their, cold immersion ice baths, in their backyards every day. And they just kind of jump in. They're like, do it, do the disciplines. And I love that energy. I think it's great. But a lot of the time, it isn't always about, putting on that face. It isn't always about, being comfortable every day in the sense that it looks like it becomes, your norm, your thing. And I know disciplines put you in that space that this is your new norm. So it is something you have to push through. It's like, with fitness or anything, with ice baths, you start to partake in it longer and longer and longer. And because your body has now adapted to this being your new comfortable, because you got really uncomfortable for a period of time until those patterns, of your subconscious mind, your nervous system rewired, reprogrammed for you to feel safe to do it longer, to do harder things. And that's just life in general. And that's why we need to embrace change and do the things that make us uncomfortable for periods of time. But with ice baths, I think it's always about coming to the present moment. It doesn't have to be like this intense thing that we view it as. So if you're getting started with that, let go of that perception. Let go of, comparing yourself to other people. That's something we need to do in every area of life. But in cold immersion, I think that is something that sometimes our mind kind of takes over when we're trying to step into cold immersion. That we're like, oh my God, I can't do this. And then once you get in, it's very overwhelming for your nervous system. You have a hard time regulating your breath. And with ice baths, breath is key. Breath is what brings you to a regulated state in your nervous system. So with that, breath is tip number one. So if you're getting started with ice baths, I really recommend, doing it with a guide or, just practicing breath work before to regulate your nervous system to the most regulated state before getting into the ice bath. Or in an ice bath, when you get in, really focus on your breath. Really try to ground yourself in your breath, practice breath work in your ice bath. Whatever kind of works for you, dip your toe into that and see how that makes you feel. Breath is so important to regulating your nervous system, and I always say it all the time, but there's so much conditioned in society, just that's gone on for generations, just how we kind of go about life. Our breath is so dysregulated. And I have gone through different stages in this all the time. And at every moment of the day, if ever I am feeling chronic stress, I am feeling dysregulated, I know that I have too much on my plate going on, I can consciously bring awareness to the fact that I am not breathing properly. I'm holding in my gut, I'm breathing erratically, it is not regulated, which is actually causing more problems in my nervous system, to bring on more anxiousness, more anxiety, more upset in my nervous system, and that's not going to help me with ice baths or in general stress. So with breath, kind of just coming to the awareness that breath is really going to shift your ice bath experience. When I talk about the things that have been built into society and how they, are not aligned with bringing conscious breath and a regulated nervous system state, those can be such elements as stress. That's the biggest one. The feeling that we always need to be doing something. We can't be mindful. We can't be still. That dysregulates our breath. The fact that many of us are always sitting all day, working for 8 hours a day, then we go home and we're watching TV for prolonged periods of time as well. We're sitting. We are not really focused on, breathing. We're not in standing. We're not doing as much fitness as typically we would. We're indoors all the time. How society's kind of been created, we're always inside. We drive in a car. We get to the office. We drive to the grocery store. We're in the grocery store. We go back home. We're cooking. It's the end of the day. You get up, you do it again. And, unless you're being conscious and really pushing outside of your comfort to get outside, focus on your breath, practice breath work, practice cold immersion, practice wellness tools that uniquely work for you, that's going to cause an effect on your nervous system. And gradually over time, that manifests in your physical health and your mental health as well. So with, the things that have been built into society, it's just a lot of the time focused on a dysregulated breath. So it causes more stress. It causes more problems. And that can even just look like, the fact that we're always, kind of, guided and, this perception in society that we need to look a certain way. So naturally, we're always sucking in our guts. We're always, trying not to breathe heavily because it's embarrassing. So practicing breath work, we typically don't do that in a space because people are like, what the hell are you doing? And I think that's something like I've learned to kind of, get more comfortable with over time. And yes, sometimes you do need to be around a certain crowd of people, certain environment to practice breath work. Randomly, it's not always the most comfortable to do because you're in your own little world. Sometimes you have your headphones on, you're just like really doing like the breathing, but it really helps you. It really helps to regulate your nervous system. And that's something I also practice in my fitness style as well when I guide, when I do it myself at home. So focusing on your breath, that is tip number one. And I think that is vital in any area of your life, but particularly in ice baths. Like regardless if you are just getting started with cold immersion, regardless if you are, really experienced in it, just bringing awareness to how can I expand, breath work into my experience with cold immersion? How can I regulate my breath? And that's something to explore. That's something to, layer on, build upon. So focus on your breath. Try to ground yourself in that way. That's the best, thing that I think we can do wherever you are with cold immersion and ice baths. Now, tip number 2, if you are new, if you, maybe you're just kind of bored with your cold immersion in your backyard all the time, what I really recommend is community. And this is like a really big thing right now that's been going on, all over the world with different events. Like there's a really great event that goes on. I think they have one in like Australia. They have one in Venice. They have one like Venice, LA in California. They have them in a few different locations, and it's called Coffee and Chill. And I love it. I love the vibe. I love the energy of that. It's really blown up, and the cold immersion scene has really blown up. And I think it's a really great tool that you can bring into the experience of ice baths in general in life, but community. If you're really uncomfortable with getting started with that, community is great. One, you can also do it with a guide, someone to guide you through breathwork, someone to hold your hand, guide you through, feeling empowered, regulating your nervous system in cold immersion. If this is your first time doing that, that's something I do. That's something that, I partake in myself here in Tulum. I've done it in Vancouver. It's always great to have support. So if you have community and it's more of a, experience of just connecting with people, doing some cold immersion, having some beverages, like having fun with it, that's great, because naturally community provides you that support, that energy, that your nervous system naturally, unconsciously feels more safe. It feels more regulated to know that you're not the only one here. You're not the only one doing hard things. You're not the only one who's going to be, triggered if you're getting to cold immersion, that sort of thing. So if you're new to cold immersion, ice baths, community is great. Or to go ahead and connect with a guide, connect with someone who can support and guide you through cold immersion ice baths with breath work, or just kind of the ice bath in general. So that is something I really recommend. So those are the two, I think. And there's a third one, and that is closing your eyes, removing yourself from the exterior factors. And ice baths are a really great tool, and we talk about the health benefits in the physical body, and we talk about, the fact that, people say, after cold immersion, I feel so great, I'm so energized, after it, I feel so great in my mind, I feel, so calm and peaceful. It's because it's rewiring, retraining your nervous system into safety, and it's elevating your energy. You are experiencing, the aftermath, the endorphins, the experience that kind of goes on in your physical body to heal and elevate that energy of yourself. But it's also like a really big part in the fact that like doing ice therapy and cold immersion is really about regulating your nervous system. It's about rewiring that sense of safety to do hard things, when often we are programmed, just in life in general, that things are always stressful. So it's great. It's wonderful. So I would really recommend, with that, to close your eyes and remove yourself from your exterior world. Remove yourself from society, from the fact that that you're in an ice bath. And this is something that's helped me over time. And I know it really helps other people too. And I always kind of recommend that to people who are, struggling. They've tried an ice bath. They don't like it. They don't want to do it again. You have to try things multiple times to get comfortable with it. So number one, focus on your breath. That's going to help you regulate your nervous system to get more comfortable as you continue your journey with cold therapy. Number two, seek support or community. Naturally, your nervous system, your mind just kind of comes to a state that, you have support, you're okay. You just come to a state of, safety and regulation in your nervous system unconsciously in that. And number three, with ice baths, cold immersion, I really just recommend, if you're really struggling, close your eyes, because it removes you seeing what's happening. It removes the mind. It removes you understanding that you are in a cold bath. You are looking at the other people who are staring at you. And naturally, if you are feeling, anxious in that, your mind sometimes takes over. And then it goes to your nervous system, where then your nervous system is in this, disarray, and it's, all stressed out in all of these details, because now your mind is taking over. Now you're focused on the fact that everyone's looking at you and you don't like this ice bath and it feels really uncomfortable. And now you're having self-doubt. You're having limiting beliefs, and you're sitting there thinking, all of these thoughts that are not true, but they're your mind taking over, saying that you can't do this. You can't hold, yourself in this ice bath any longer. And then you're having self-doubt to say, like, all of those elements. And then you're having your mind tell you that, oh my God, all these people are judging you. All these people are looking at you in a funny way. And the mind takes over. And when the mind takes over, what happens? We get anxious. The nervous system gets dysregulated. Things get worse. So those are my 3 recommendations that I really, try to guide and share with people. If you're like really struggling with cold immersion, but you really want to dip your toe into it, if you're new to it, like seek community, seek, the knowledge of regulating your breath, whether that is practicing breath work before, during, even just, deep breaths just to get yourself comfortable with that. And lastly, if you're really struggling and you're feeling really anxious, close your eyes, remove the exterior factors, let go of the mind, and just understand, like, you're safe, you're fine, you are alive, you are doing good. And this is really impactful, and it really shifts your perception in the ice bath itself. And I do this sometimes when I feel stressed, when I feel dysregulated, when I know that, like, I'm sitting in the ice bath. Like sometimes you just feel empowered. Some days you're just like, this is so easy. Like this is great. You had a workout before. You're already hot. Like it's not even that cold. Your nervous system's regulated. You hadn't had a stressful day. You got lots done. You're feeling great. You get in. You like quickly just take a few breaths and like you're just sitting there and everyone's like, wow, you're so strong and like doing these things. And I'm very honest with the fact that like I did this recently and I went to an amazing spot in Tulum, and the guides there, they were amazing. And with this, the person offered to film me, and I was like, sure, I'd love that, thank you so much. And they were traveling to Tulum, and he was just like, you're so strong. And I was like, yeah, just it looks like that. And like some days you feel stronger than others, and people don't always believe that, but that's what it is. Like ice baths is really coming to a space of knowing like it doesn't always get easier. It's about just kind of coming to like an awareness that all that matters is the now. All that matters is the present moment. Ice therapy is for you to get to a healthier space in your mind and in your body and in your nervous system. So with that, I just kind of go ahead when I'm having rough days to focus on my breath. If I need community, I go out to, connect in those ways. And it's freaking amazing to do that because you don't always have to do these things alone. Community is great. And if I'm really struggling, if I'm really going through a lot of stress and I know like I'm in the ice bath, it's not going well, I just close my eyes. I just remove the world. I just focus on my breath. I put some frequency sounds on. I put some music that really like brings me to a grounded space, whether that is like chill electronic, whatever it is, just something that's going to make me feel good, make me feel safe in my nervous system. And I close my eyes and I remove myself and I focus on my breath, and I can be in there for 5 minutes, like easy peasy. And then I'm like, oh, it's done. That's cool. That's fine. So those three are vital. And I think like something we don't really talk about because we're always looking outside of ourselves. We're always kind of looking at how people are judging us. We're always looking at how, people are showing up with, life and ice, baths online where it just looks tough. It just looks like, they're doing their thing. And it is great. And, there's amazing people online who are sharing, like, it doesn't get any easier. It is hard all the time. But, like, let's be honest and transparent in the fact that, like, people who are new to ice baths, people who are kind of struggling in really sticking to that and that consistency, they view that of other people in a different way. And that is something to let go of, to overcome, to understand like, yes, it doesn't get any easier, but your mindset, your embodiment gets stronger. And it's not always about the fact that like you need to partake in that forever, every day. So that's something I've learned as well. And I think something that I always like to share, and with every area of life. And since, on this podcast episode, we're talking about ice therapy, I think it's vital. I think it's important. Let go of the idea that you need to partake in these wellness routines. Focus on the fact that like, there are disciplines you need to do, but build them into the flow of your week. And this is something I do in general. And I know we always talk about do the disciplines, do these like 20 things in the morning, and then go do all your work and then follow your night routine. These are great. These are, vital. I think like it is important to have discipline in life. I think it is important to have wellness rituals. But I think like the fact of like routine is very restrictive, and it actually doesn't always lead to growth, because naturally, like I say all the time, like your new level of comfort, your new level of normal comes to the fact that like you've grown, you've done this thing. So you need to expand that. You need to go with like a flow to learn new things, expand in body, mind, and soul. So with ice therapy, I think like what I've come to know is like the best advice of life, but in cold immersion, is to like let go of the idea that it has to be continuous thing forever. It has to be routine. Focus on the present moment. Focus on the fact that like if you want this to be something you partake in as a ritual in life, go ahead to say, I'm going to take 2 ice baths a week. Okay, great. Do it with your unique flow of where you think during your week you can do that. Okay, great. You did that for 1 week. You did 2 ice baths. Okay, expand that. It doesn't have to be at the same time, on the same day, but just have like weekly disciplines and follow the flow of life with where you feel in your mindset, where you feel like if you're feeling stressful in life, don't push through that resistance on that day. Like, bring awareness to the present moment. Your body, the energy of life, tells you what's actually going to benefit you and what's not. And that's something I've came to know just like in general. And I know it's really hard because we got to do things. We book a time to do something. We have to show up for that. Like, we do have like things that we have to do at certain times. But I think when it comes to wellness, it's about letting go of the routines. It's about letting go of the fact that like you need to do things at a certain time. You need to, be disciplined every single day to layer on more. I think like the thing that's really helped me, and I really advocate with people in general, like, do what is working for you. Do things that expand your growth. Like, things should not look the same every day because the mind loves patterns. We're not growing if we're doing the same thing all the time. And I'm not saying not to be disciplined, but what I am saying is have disciplines, have wellness rituals, and say that I'm going to do I'm going to do these things during this week. And I think like that is the best way that you can plan and schedule your life in general of different areas, because we talk about, I can't do everything every day. Naturally, no, we can't. Time, is a concept, an idea that we kind of have built in because we need to get things done. We need to kind of, follow time to an extent, but it's about the present moment. You come out of the aspect of like time. If you're stuck in this schedule, this routine, you're stuck in like this concept, like things have to be done at a certain time, you lose the experience of life. You don't allow new things to come in because one, naturally we're human, we overschedule ourselves. Two, we don't actually bring awareness to where like the energy is kind of like giving us answers. Like if you were saying that you have to do an ice bath every single day at 6 a.m., you went for a run at 4:30. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. Like I've been through that period and I get it, but like doing that for like years on end, like, are you actually growing at this point? And I know that's a triggering message, but triggers lead to truth. And I love that saying, and I say that all the time. So if it doesn't trigger you, cool, keep doing your thing. And that's what I mean. Like, discipline is great, but to expand, to grow consciousness, awareness, like in your physical body, in your health, like you have to expand what you're doing. You have to allow new things to come in. And that's what it's about, is like, if you're not open to new opportunities, new ways of fitness, new ways of wellness, of health, of perspectives, like they're not going to come in. We always talk about like your mind creates your reality. It is about your openness to the new. So bringing yourself to a state of presence is going to help you in every area of life. And I think especially with ice baths, because with this, what I've come to know at different periods of time, I was doing ice baths every day during the summer. I was in Vancouver. I was loving it. I had all the ice in the bathtub at home, and I just was like taking my ice baths. I was working out every day, and I felt great. I was in flow. I was feeling great. But there came a point in time, like I was going through a lot of stress. I couldn't do the ice baths anymore. I was getting in them. I felt dysregulated. They weren't uplifting my energy. They were like bringing on more stress. I was having more inflammation. And that's what I mean is like coming to the present moment sometimes isn't about like the fact that like you're not doing healthy things, but the present moment kind of tells you like the healthy things that you're doing and you're trying to like partake in to benefit yourself. Sometimes it's not the right time. So when I was like partaking in ice baths on this like strict schedule and doing all these things, I did that for weeks. I loved it. It was like 3 months. I was taking an ice bath every single day. Like maybe I skipped like one a week. Like it was fine. And I was like, this is great. I love ice baths. And that's where I fell in love with ice baths. I just loved it. It was my routine. It was the thing I was doing. But, when I was going through different like areas of my life with different stressors, like unconsciously my nervous system was, shifting, like changing. It was, causing an effect for me to unconsciously go into a state of fight or flight when I was going in the ice bath, because I was already stressed in other areas of my life that my physical body was saying, ooh, these ice baths feel really unsafe. You already have enough stress in your body. That energy you're holding on to, it's too much. So when we don't listen to that, sometimes we're actually causing more harm than good. And I think that is like a great perspective shift. Like, bring yourself to the present moment. Like, what's coming up when you're getting an ice bath? Are you feeling dysregulated? And I think that is key. Like, if you're new to it, explore that. Try community, try closing your eyes, try practicing breath work, because it's going to be uncomfortable in the beginning. But like, if you're still feeling dysregulated, if you're not feeling uplifted in energy after, and like for the first few times you might not. And I think that is for you to recognize, like, there might be healing to do. There might be, elements of your nervous system that are kind of giving you that clue, that signal to say, hey, you have different areas of stress in your life. We don't need any more stress, because that's just how we're wired as humans. It's sad, but it's funny. But until we heal shit, until we, focus on different areas of our life in the present moment of what's actually going on in our reality, like, our nervous system reacts. So the mind says, but I've done this for months on end, that I take an ice bath every day. Why is this changed? Why is this shifted? And this goes with wellness. And this is like the big thing I talk about in wellness, and where I guide people in fitness, in health, in nutrition, in every area of life, like presence. The present moment is giving you every answer you need. And it's for you to focus on the energy of that. How does your nervous system feel? The present moment. What is actually going on in your experience? Are you triggered? Triggers are the things that we need to face to heal and let go of ourselves, to stop manifesting that in our life, to actually shift things in our life and our reality, to track, different things in. Like, every area of our life, it comes to presence. And I so did not have this perception for such a long period of my lifetime, but it is so impactful and something I always recommend to every single person. So your wellness journey, it's unique to you. And that is the clue. That is the key, because, I say it all the time, but wellness is a journey unique to you. So we need to remove, the fact that we're always comparing to other people. We're like, oh my God, like they're doing this, they're doing this. Presence. Presence is for you to do trial and error in like this period of time. Understand that like, you should be growing and changing and shifting, and like new things, new types of fitness, new wellness, new nutrition actually manifests into your life when you allow it to come in, when you focus on presence to follow the flow of things. I spent years, doing ice baths, doing, these certain, elements of nutrition, all these diets. I spent years in that, and that's what's been built into society. That is what we think we need to do. We focus on what everyone else is doing, and we stick to that for years. But we're not recognizing we're feeling good in life. We're not recognizing like we're healing physically. We're causing more injury at a period of time. We're like, why is this coming up? We're not recognizing like we still are in this state that we have panic attacks. We're feeling depression, but we're taking the ice baths, but we're eating clean food, but we're doing all of these wellness things that we think are going to work, that are working for other people. But it comes down to the fact that like, shift the perspective, come out of the mind, come out of what you've come to know, and understand that like, you are meant to experience so many different versions of yourself. So view it in the sense that like, at months at a time, you're living in a completely different reality. At months at a time, just you are a completely different self. Be open to new opportunities. And in those moments, when you come to presence, you focus on what is uniquely working for you in your wellness rituals, those elements, because that helps to bring awareness of things we cannot perceive of the mind. That's like, okay, I'm stressed in my nervous system in ice baths, but I've been doing this for a long period of time. What is that thing I need to face in the present moment? Am I facing financial stress? Okay, maybe that's an area I need to shift and change. I need to focus on that more before I'm focusing on, this element. I can come back to it later. Maybe at this period of time, you're partaking in HIIT workouts, but now you're injured all the time. Now you're recognizing like you're exhausted in energy. It's not working. You're feeling inflamed in your body. But there was a period of time that you were doing HIIT workouts and you were lean, you were feeling great. That's a part of the process. It's like we should be shifting and changing all the time. And I would recognize that too. And I could never understand why I would be taking in these wellness routines like ice baths, different styles of fitness, and I just like couldn't understand why I would fall off of them, every few months, but I was like really seeing amazing results when I was like, into them, into the routines of them, into the consistency of them. And there just hit a point like I would still be consistent, but it was actually at that point causing more harm than good. I was getting injured. My nervous system was dysregulated. I was becoming more inflamed. I was gaining weight, even though I was doing the thing that was actually working for me before. And that's for us to understand, like, things are not meant to be on repeat. As I mentioned, as I talk about all the time with the subconscious mind, we're wired to like patterns, programs. So when we are focused on this in our routines, our rituals, in our wellness journey in life, like we should not be living the same day after day after day after day. Discipline is great, but you should be experiencing each day in some new way, even if it's little. So coming to the present moment, you allow in new opportunities by being open to it, by understanding like, okay, I don't want to be living in a pattern. I don't want to be doing the same thing every day. Okay, great. Every day is for you to say, how do I feel today? What things do I have to do this week? What rituals have I set up in my wellness, plan for the week ahead? And do I feel that this works for me in this present moment? You're always going to have to push through that limiting belief, the resistance you feel with yourself. And that is the thing we have to overcome all the time. So some days you're like, you know what? I have the time. I'm not feeling like it's an unsafe thing, but I'm feeling like I don't want to do it. I'm feeling, tired in that way. If you're completely burnt out and exhausted, take a nap. If you're completely burnt out and exhausted, like get outside, like ground yourself in a different way. Go to a yoga class, try to like focus on the present moment to understand like your energy in life, how you feel in your body. It's unique to you. It's telling you at every single moment throughout the day, every single day as a new, reality, a new opportunity for you to say, okay, this is working for me in this moment. Right now, it is not. And that's kind of how I've been living life. Like the past few months, like just being in Tulum, I wasn't expecting to be here this long, but I've really kind of experienced like that element, like the past 3 months that I've been here. And it's like one day I'm just like, I'm so like, like bursting with energy. Like, well, I want to do it all. I'm all excited. The next day it's like, like I'm exhausted. I'm burnt out. And it is like, patterns and things that I'm bringing awareness to in the present moment to say like, I can't be doing all these things all the time. I go into burnout. But it's for me to understand like, the present moment is telling you exactly what's coming about, what's shifting, what's, changing in your life, what needs to be addressed. So with ice baths, life in general, presence is really important. And I think that is, amazing that you're choosing to partake in ice baths and come to the present moment. And there's some amazing people online. There's some amazing people who are really, helping people with cold immersion. And it comes, to a big element of, mental health, of, feeling safe in our nervous system, is that it isn't always comfortable. We have to overcome those like shadows of ourselves, those limiting beliefs that are coming up. And being present in an ice bath brings that up, and that is uncomfortable. So that's why I say like regulating your nervous system in ways that feel unique to you, like with breath, with closing your eyes, you come into an embodiment with yourself to know like, I got me. I'm safe. Regardless of what stressors are going on in life, I am okay. I'm going to find a way. It's good. You come out of like the stress of the mind in that way. And, with that too, finding community with ice baths and cold immersion, like finding community in that, it helps you to feel that support, that energy to do hard things, to overcome these things that we feel limited to, that hold us back in life. So that is really cool. And I think that is an amazing journey. If you are trying to dip your toe into, cold immersion, ice therapy, if you partake in it all the time, look to expand upon it. Are you just doing it every morning? Okay, how can you shift that? What elements are coming up in the present moment? Do you no longer have like intrusive thoughts that come up? Are you just feeling like it's comfortable, it's a part of routine? Okay, cool. Time for a shift, time for a change. Do you practice breath work in that? Try breath work in an ice bath. See how intense that gets. Sometimes, depending on the style of breath work, it's very intense. So, ensure you're doing it in a safe, way. Seek guidance, do it with support with someone, because, that can be dangerous as well. Partaking in, breath work, if you're holding your breath in an ice bath, like be mindful of that. But I think that's, something that's amazing. Presence. Presence in your cold immersion. Like, just focus on the present moment, how it's making you feel. And when things are coming up that are uncomfortable, transmute them. Face them. Understand that it's not you. It's likely, a pattern, an intrusive thought, something that's stressing you out in life in general at the moment. But bring awareness to that. Coming into cold immersion helps to bring you into presence. It helps to bring awareness to what in your life needs to shift and change. Partaking in ice baths in a community that's fun, you're present in that. You are connecting with people. You're having a good time. You're feeling dysregulated in your nervous system. You're overcoming the limiting beliefs. You're building community, and that's freaking amazing. I freaking love that. So cold immersion, ice baths, I always recommend it. I think it's so impactful and so amazing. But also, as I mentioned before, be mindful to understand, sometimes your body is going to tell you, not right now. Sometimes your nervous system is going to say, this doesn't feel safe, and not in a way to push through the resistance of a limiting belief. But sometimes it feels unsafe because you have too much going on in your exterior world that you need to deal with aside from the ice bath. And that is the presence, the awareness that, we need to step into a lot of the time to understand that presence is going to give you all the answers. Presence is going to bring awareness to the things that actually are going to shift our life, our reality, our embodiment of ourselves in general, in physical healing. There's always an answer in the present moment. And it's hard. Let's be real, as a society, we've just grown up with all these different ways of living that presence is something you have to step into little by little. It's really hard. You kind of have to leave environments. You got to learn to set boundaries. You got to learn to do hard things. And wellness is amazing. And there's great tools, great rituals that you can do. And I recommend them all the time. And this comes with cold immersion. This comes with, frequency, sound healing, sound baths. This comes with breath work. This comes with, fitness. This comes with nutrition. This all comes with the things that we talk about. But if you aren't willing to get uncomfortable in the present moment to address yourself, then you're not actually going to expand, to elevate, to heal in mind, body, soul on your journey in life. It all comes down to you. So wellness does, have benefits on your physical body and your mental health, but focusing on you actually brings awareness to the fact that all these wellness rituals, all these wellness tools, the answer is there. It's telling you exactly what you need to know in this present moment, that for months you could be a completely different version of yourself. That energy could have shifted in a different way. And this is what we talk about, nutrition. We say, this thing works for me. This thing works for me. At different periods of time, I recognize, sometimes I intuitively eat. That's cool. Sometimes I do good fasting. That's cool. Sometimes I just eat, basically carnivore. That's cool. Sometimes I feel that I need to just eat fruit. That's cool. Sometimes I do go vegan, go vegetarian. That's cool. Sometimes I just need a big ass salad. Sometimes you're in Italy and you just want pasta, whatever it is. Coming to the present moment, your body tells you what you need. The energy of your life and what's manifesting tells you what you need. Your nervous system and how it feels, if it's regulated or if it feels unsafe, tells you what you need. But we have to be brave enough to face those elements. And this is the part of wellness we don't talk about. We talk about the tools. We talk about the rituals. And they are impactful. They are amazing. I partake in them. I guide them in my events. But we don't talk about the fact that it's also about facing ourselves, facing our truth, and what we are co-creating and what we are manifesting in our lives. So when we face these elements, when we partake in these wellness rituals like ice baths, whatever it is, it's about understanding you're going to have different periods of time in your life, you're different versions of yourself. Focusing on the present moment to understand, I'm having digestive issues with nutrition. You don't have to hold an identity I'm allergic to these things. You don't have to hold an identity. If you're allergic, I had allergies for years. I was borderline anaphylactic. Don't partake in that. Be safe. But I healed all of my anaphylactic allergies. And that was a whole lot. I'm no longer allergic to cats. I'm no longer allergic to all the fruits that I was allergic to. Like, I couldn't eat carrots. I couldn't eat so many foods. And I had the tests, and they're like, don't consume these at all. Like, you can't be around cats for more than 3 hours, or else like you should get an EpiPen. Like, I healed those, but I healed those from regulating my nervous system. I healed those from questioning how I was feeling in the present moment at different periods of my life with wellness, with nutrition. So presence is key, but you have to face those uncomfortable truths to really just say like, hey, what's coming up in my life? Why am I having digestive issues? Digestion often is about a dysregulated nervous system. Digestion, allergies, I really just view that as a sense of like the energy's off. I'm feeling overwhelmed in my nervous system, but I don't understand why. And I had digestive issues when I didn't know how to set boundaries. And that's what it is. Wellness gives you the clue. The rituals, the tools give you the clue if you focus on the presence when you're partaking in them. When you're partaking in wellness and you're focused on like, okay, I'm doing these different, styles of nutrition because, I'm doing a cleanse, I'm doing a fast, I'm trying like different, elements of food to see what's working, trying probiotics. I'm trying, to just shift things up because, my digestion shit, it's not working. It's really causing effect to like how I feel and my daily way of living. So bringing awareness and the uncomfortability of the rituals of wellness you're partaking in will bring truth if you're willing to face them. And that's what I had to face. Is like, I tried all these different, ways of like eating and, all of these different elements. But really what healed me from, the allergies that I felt like I would have forever, that really affected like what I could eat, how I felt, my digestive issues, the anxiety that was chronic that doctors said I would have forever, and I would have panic attacks like almost like every week. Like, I healed all that from focusing on the uncomfortable truths that the wellness, yes, eating clean food, yes, partaking in, cold therapy, by partaking in meditation, by doing the wellness rituals, I love it. It should be a continuous thing that you're partaking in, weekly or in your, lifestyle in general. But I didn't heal any of that just partaking in the wellness rituals, just partaking in fitness. I healed those elements of myself in healing fibromyalgia when I set boundaries, when I chose to leave environments, when I made decisions that were really hard in my relationships. I stepped into my inner authority and I built that energy of myself. All of that shifted and healed, and that had nothing to do with the nutrition I was eating. That had nothing to do with the wellness rituals, the ice baths. So wellness is a unique journey to you. And I think like that is something I recommend. I know this episode is on ice baths, but I really always like to like take, one opportunity to expand upon. Ice baths is a ritual. It's for wellness. It's amazing for your physical health, your mental health. And it's a really great tool of a wellness like opportunity for you to bring awareness to the present moment of like, how do I feel and like why? Like, what's coming up in your mindset? Are you having intrusive thoughts like that? You have self-doubt that you're saying like, oh my God, I'm depressed. Like, are you stuck in that? Are you taking ice baths for months on an end, but you're not actually leaving depression? Okay, maybe it's not just about the ice baths. What is it you need to face? Like, are you feeling dysregulated in your nervous system? You're partaking in ice baths, but are you actually feeling the benefits? Are you feeling exhausted after? Are you like having more inflammation in your body? That means like your nervous system doesn't feel safe. Okay, that has nothing to do with the ice baths. There's an element in the present moment for us to become aware like, okay, there's something else I need to face. There might be healing I need to do. There might be, a boundary I need to set in my life. There might be a shift I need to make in like what's actually causing stress in my life. So that is a hard truth to face. But it is something that has truly transformed my wellness journey, something I always like guide people through too, and has helped them. And you hear this all the time from like so many people. It's like, yes, eating clean food, doing these things, but I can tell you like when you face the hardest parts of like your reality, like wellness rituals bring awareness to those things, and you face the hard stuff, like the relationships, the careers that like drain your energy, when you leave environments that just like you don't feel like you belong to anymore. We're supposed to grow, we're supposed to shift, we're supposed to change. The present moment and, you know, wellness rituals, fitness, like whatever it is, helps to bring awareness to that, helps to bring awareness to like the patterns, the things that we feel like we need to keep repeating, feel stuck to, that we need to shift and change, we need to address. And it's like when you make those decisions of yourself that like, I no longer want to live this way, I no longer want to, you know, pursue this career, it drains me, I'm not enjoying it as I once did, it's just like no longer aligned with me. When you set boundaries in your relationships, like to say like, you know what, this is causing an effect to my mental health, this is causing an effect to my physical health, like I'm saying no to this, like I'm setting boundaries with this now because I can't live this way anymore. Your body manifests illness from the energy that's causing an effect, the things you're holding on to. Like everything in the present moment is going to give you a clue. And I know I said it a lot, but that really is like the best advice I can give you in wellness in general, is like it's going to give you an answer. Eating clean foods, doing all these things, like it's amazing, partake in them. But I can tell you like naturally, like your body heals, your mental state shifts, your life shifts in general when you face the hardest parts that are actually coming up, when you're partaking in wellness routines, wellness rituals, you know, all of these elements like ice baths, like what actually is coming up, if you go to the depth of it to find like the root of like the uncomfortable parts of like, ooh, like what is actually repeating? Like, am I consistently feeling dysregulated in ice baths? Okay, what element do I have to face? Am I consistently still having, you know, digestive issues with my nutrition? Then we hold an identity to these things. And I did that for years. Like I would just say like, I'm allergic to these things. Yeah. And the longer I said that, that didn't shift. That didn't change. It's when I really face hard truth to say like, these things are not going to decide how I live my life anymore. I'm going to find a way. I'm not going to listen to doctors. I don't really care. I made that conscious decision and I pursued that, and I didn't stop pursuing that in a way that was going to make me feel good, that was going to help me heal fibromyalgia that doctor said I was stuck to, where I was bedridden. Like the things we want to overcome, like we are so powerful, we are limitless, but it is in deciding. It's like, you know, this fact that like we all have free will, we all have choice. But having free will and having choice, like it is what it is. You can choose things. You can say this or that, you know, choose. But it's when you decide, you cut those ties. It's when you decide that you're like, I'm going in on this. Like, I don't really care. You step into that intention. You step into that energy, that authority, that embodiment of yourself. Your life changes. If you want to partake in wellness to heal your physical body, to just uplift your energy, to feel like you can embrace your authenticity and like fitness and dance, and you feel like so much self-doubt in that, and you really struggle to stick to fitness because you don't like how you feel in your body, you feel that you just can't stick to it in that way, like making those hard decisions and deciding with intention that like you deserve better, setting intentions to say like, I'm going to find a way to feel better in my physical body, to heal physically, to shift my mindset. Like when you make decisions from facing those uncomfortable truths that come up in the present moment of things, like your life changes, that energy shifts, and you really begin to see like you are a co-creator in this reality. So ice bath. And I know I got a little distracted at the end there, but you know, it's all interconnected. So ice baths is a really great tool for your physical health, your mental health, but it's also just like a great tool for you to kind of just look at like, what of my life needs to shift and change? What is actually coming up in this really uncomfortable thing? How does my mindset feel? What thoughts are coming up? Are they intrusive? Do I actually feel calm? And at different times in my life, like myself, I experienced different things. Like practicing mindfulness was not something I did most of my life. So many of us, you know, really struggle with that. I had so much anxiety. I had all of these thoughts that were just repressed, and man, were they dark. The things I thought of myself, the things that came up, like they were so overwhelming at different points in my life. And then partaking in ice therapy, like they came up. those things that I thought like I didn't think of myself, like those were repressed in my mind, and those thoughts just poof would come up, and it was very overwhelming. I didn't feel good in doing cold plunges and all of these things. Like I didn't want to partake in it anymore. So if you're feeling that struggle, like understand it's part of the process. But the present moment is kind of for us to focus on like the uncomfortable truths of that, and to also reflect on the fun things, to understand like the present moment also tells you like what uplifts you, what excites you, what actually brings you joy. Do you like doing ice baths with people? Do that, treat yourself, like have fun with that. Like life doesn't always have to be so serious all the time. And I know I talk about like doing the deep work and all of these different details, because that is what shifts your reality. That is what changes your life. That's what heals you physically and mentally, facing hard truths. But it is also sometimes the hardest thing for us to do in life is to pursue our joy, to pursue our authenticity. So when you're taking ice baths, what is actually coming up? Are you saying good things about yourself? Are you saying, I can do it even though this sucks? Most of us, likely or not, we're saying, oh my God, get the hell out of here. I don't want to do this. And that's just the mind. Let the mind say what it's going to say. It's not you. You are powerful. You are limitless. So that is kind of the clue for us to bring awareness to the present moment in an ice bath, to say, how do I feel in this? Is it exciting me? Do I feel good after partaking in an ice bath? Overcoming these limitations that I perceived before I got in? Do I feel a shift in my mindset? If not, let me look at that. Let me see how that makes me feel. Why am I not feeling a shift of like, elevated energy in my body after an ice bath? Am I still feeling self-doubt after an ice bath? What is it that's coming up? And address that, look into that. But also understand like, life's meant to be fun. We have been taught in society, like, don't pursue your joy. Don't pursue like the things that call to you that no one else is doing. We are taught not to be weird, not to embrace our authenticity, not to pursue clean eating, not to like all of these different elements. Like ice baths, those are weird. Don't do those. Like try things out, have fun with it, and understand like wellness is a journey unique to you, but it's also really a big part of like, sometimes we can get stuck in old patterns that it's like wellness, nutrition, fitness. It has to be this intense pursuit. And like I've experienced that. I know so many have as well. And especially with like this gym culture. And that was me all the time. I didn't heal emotions. I repressed emotions. I'd be at the gym every day, working out, listening to angry music, like freaking doing squats, like on the rack, like I did that for months, and I was like, great, I'm being consistent, I'm doing the things, but I wasn't really experiencing like a shift in my mindset. I wasn't actually experiencing the benefits of wellness. I wasn't experiencing a state of inner peace of like new opportunities coming in. I was holding on to repressed emotions and I was taking them out in the gym. So yes, wellness is a journey unique to you, but sometimes that is like the awareness we need in the present moment to say like, am I having fun? Is this fun? And I know healing's not fun, and I know facing hard truth isn't fun, but the more that you practice it, the more you actually become so grateful, because it becomes an addiction sometimes. Like we just kind of shift from one thing to the next a lot of the time as humans. Like life's hilarious, but that's a part of a pattern. It's like, oh, I used to go out and drink all the time. Well, now I'm really into fitness. Now I'm obsessed with it. Now I'm in run clubs. Now I'm doing ice baths. Like, but now I'm like addicted to it. Now I'm addicted to clean eating. Now I'm addicted to wellness. Now this is me. This is my identity. And this is what I'm doing. Oh, and then we're like, I'm healing. Now I can't stop healing. It's like this constant pursuit of like this like addiction, this need to like grow and get better and do all of these things. So yes, while wellness, doing things that are healthy are great and beneficial, it's also understanding like sometimes we have to remember like we're meant to have fun, we're meant to flow, we're meant to, yes, be disciplined, but wellness doesn't have to be intense all the time. Wellness doesn't have to be you constantly trying to heal yourself. Wellness doesn't have to be you doing the same thing every day because that's what you perceive you need to do to get to a better space in whatever area of your life. So having fun. Bring your awareness back to that. Bring your awareness to like when you take an ice bath, like, yes, maybe it's not fun in the moment. If you're at like a community thing and you're having fun, that's amazing. And I think that is like a really fun part of like these community ice baths is like it combines the two. You're feeling great. You're connecting with people. You're uplifted in energy. And like you're having fun with doing the hard things. So ask yourself though, like, are you having fun? Are you doing things alone? Do you always have to be doing things with other people? There's always an answer in the present moment. Because if you're someone who also, like, I know, side note, but like takes ice baths, but like you only go to community things, like, do you partake in ice baths alone in silence? And that's something to face too, is like a lot of us don't know how to be alone. Taking an ice bath alone at home can be so overwhelming to someone. And that was me for like different periods in my life, because I hadn't practiced mindfulness. I didn't know how to be alone with my thoughts. But that's the present moment thing we have to bring awareness to. If you're someone who's like constantly just taking ice baths at home, like you do your workout, you have your routine, you take your ice bath, that's great, that's amazing. But are you getting out in community? Are you actually like connecting with new people? Like, we can get stuck in like, yes, we want deep connections, and like hopefully we have like friends that, you know, are part of our lives for long periods of time, like deep, meaningful connections. But like, are you still expanding? Are you still connecting with new people? If not, like, face that presence to understand, like, why am I only taking ice baths alone at home? Why don't I go to community things? See how that makes me feel. Like, am I having fun in that? Am I having fun taking ice baths every day? I've been doing this for months. Yes, it's my routine. Yes, they feel great in my body. Am I having fun? Do I feel like I'm growing, expanding? I'm seeking new, you know, opportunities. I'm, you know, aligning with new connections. Like, there should be shifts in your life every few months. You should be feeling like, holy shit, like, this is a new reality. Holy shit. Like, I perceived nothing was happening, but in a few months, my body is completely shifted and changed. Like, this is amazing. I feel like I've healed, you know, my physical body. Oh my God, like, I'm seeing such results in a physical way. And not that it's about physical appearance, but like, you will recognize, like, when you're open to facing the hard truths in the present, doing these wellness rituals, these elements like ice baths, like fitness, nutrition, like taking what is working for you in the present moment and following your unique flow, your unique energy, like what's actually working for you for weeks at a time, for months at a time, like, you will recognize there will be a day like you just feel like something is shifted. Like, you just feel like this is a completely new me. This is a completely new self. And you feel that energy. You feel that shift of your life, of your physical body, your mental health. Like, you'll notice like new people, new opportunities are coming into your life. And that is a great thing of like wellness in general, like mind, body, and soul. Is like, you really gain this new perception of like partaking in certain things, like in wellness. Like, you can really just shift how you feel in your body. You can really shift what is kind of aligning in your life with like new connections, new people. And you don't have to seek things all the time. Sometimes they just manifest into your life when you're open to it. So partaking in ice baths, doing these fun things, it really just helps to bring awareness to the fact that like, you're a co-creator in this reality. And sometimes we get stuck in the routine. Sometimes we are not actually pursuing our joy. We're not allowing in new opportunities, new connections. Sometimes we're focused on the thing that we've been told is going to work for us, but we're not feeling excited. We're feeling like it's boring. We're feeling like we're not experiencing a shift in like our physical health. We're not seeing results in like our mental state. Like, that is the awareness we need to understand. There's elements that need to be faced there. There should be shifts and change, like in all areas of your life every few months, especially your perception of life and of yourself. And that is the biggest thing that I always talk about. And I think this is really great with ice baths and in life in general. And this will be my last note with this podcast, as I did get kind of distracted. But this always expands on these podcasts, and I like to go with the flow of things because wellness is a unique journey to you. And I know we like to talk about the specifics of like how this is going to benefit you, how this ice bath is going to shift things. But it is like understanding like we perceive things as a certain way, and often the universe is trying to bring in better things, but we need to bring awareness of what we need to let go, shift of ourselves and of our lives that we can't perceive actually needs to be let go and change for new things to manifest in. Whether that is a shift in your physical health, whether that is a new connection with a new like version of yourself, whether that is a new career that might make no sense. You like partake in ice baths at home all the time. You take that one leap of faith because you're like, hey, I've listened to this podcast. That's me. I don't know why I'm not going to community things with ice baths. I'm going to, investigate that. I'm going to look into that. You go to a few, you connect with someone. Maybe it's the love of your life. Maybe it's someone who you align with in business. You create a business together. Like, be open to what the universe is trying to give you, which is always better, which is always outside of the routine, the structure of things, which is aligning between a balance of like discipline in your weekly schedule of like wellness rituals, facing hard truths of yourself, and pursuing your freaking joy, pursuing your fun. There's a weird balance in life. And I know, like, how I view things, it really is about addressing a unique perception of where you are in life in general. And that's how I best connect with people. I do these podcasts and they get a little distracted at the end, but it's really because, you know, I let things flow. The wisdom comes through me and this is how it's being expressed. So I let that channel through me and out through the microphone, you know, or in my writing and my blogs. But, you know, that is like the awareness we need though, is like the mind is so much about structure. The mind perceives we have to do things on one path, one routine, this thing that worked for someone else that might not work for you. So every few months, really get like comfortable with understanding like every few months, things should be shifting in your life. And like I said, this is the last note. The thing that should be shifting, like regardless of what is changing and manifesting in your life every few months, like do the things, like follow the disciplines, allow in new opportunities, like see what your intuition is trying to tell you to do, partake in ice baths, partake in these like wellness rituals, but understand like the one thing that should be changing every few weeks for you to know that you're growing regardless if things are changing in your life, in your physical health, in your mental state, in opportunities and careers and connections, in your life in general. The one thing that should be shifting every few weeks for you is your perception on life. And that is expansive. That is what changes your life, your reality, your embodiment of yourself, your wellness in general of your physical body. Like when you are manifesting in new information, new ways to get into wellness, like it is about your perception changing. And we can talk about expanding consciousness. We can talk about like, you know, being open to new information. But that's something I recognize. Like I didn't seek new knowledge in wellness. I really just focused on the present moment for like years alone. I didn't have guidance. I wasn't reading books. I wasn't like, how do I, align with this? How do I like heal my physical body? How do I do all these things? It was about me getting really intentional in the present moment and healing shit, of addressing what like intuitively I was being guided to do. It doesn't always make sense. And I have a weird perception of these things, but it is about presence that like, if you just get like open to that, you have awareness of everything. You have access to like conscious wisdom, like at any time. It's about becoming present, that your perception gradually over the few weeks in time, when you choose to do what feels unique to you, let go of things that no longer like serve you, heal shit, like pursue your joy. Like when you are being intentional about your life and following your unique flow, doing what works for you, regardless of like what people are sharing works for them, like take what resonates with you, take what's working for you, like create your own way of wellness, create your own like schedule, rituals, your way of life, like do what is working for you, do what actually is calling to you that you want to explore of yourself and of life. And what will shift in your life is your perception of it. And this is when new things of wellness come into your life, new perceptions, new connections, like things just manifest into your life when you decide to address the present moment and what you need to change of it, that you are co-creating in this moment in time. And that's something I recognize. Like I used to always be stuck on like trying to find a certain diet to partake in. It didn't help me. I would always like at periods of time be reading all these like self-development books. And I love self-development books, but I was trying to like learn. And this is a big thing that people partake in all the time. Like we're always seeking knowledge. You have knowledge. And what actually manifests into your life are the things that you uniquely need if you let go of the control of things. So presence brings you to that. Every few weeks, like I know that I'm growing, I'm on the right path if my perception shifts. How I once thought of things, and I think that's like really expansive and something to be aware of as well, as like sometimes we feel self-doubt to be like, oh my God, like people are going to say, but you said this a few weeks ago. Cool. Yes, I did. That means I'm growing. That means I'm expanding consciousness. That means like my mindset, my perspective has shifted. That's true growth, regardless of what's manifesting in my life. Like, if that is something I recognize, like what I shared on a podcast a few weeks later has shifted and changed, I've learned something. I've learned something in my experience, and it has brought new awareness that I can share with other people. And what people are going to, the people who are going to see or hear my past wisdom, my past guidance, my past, podcasts, likely that's coming into their life for a reason. They need that. Maybe they don't need my new perspective. Maybe in time they'll have my new perspective. And that is the question all the time. Like, well, you said this like a few weeks back. I did. Maybe that's something to question. That like I've grown a lot within a few weeks, within a few months, that like I no longer view things in that way. I've let that go. I've learned new things, new styles of wellness, new mindsets, new perceptions of life have manifested into my life. And that came to the fact that like I'm choosing to grow, I'm choosing to change. And I think that is really cool, really brave to understand like we're meant to be so many different versions of ourselves. So with wellness, when your perception is changing, like you'll recognize too, like you don't always have to seek like certain elements of like what I need to do to benefit me in wellness, ice baths, nutrition, all of those details. So when you're focusing on the little things, you'll recognize like what actually comes up into your experience is the right person, the right, post on Instagram, the right book that just keeps appearing in your life. You're like, what is this book about? The universe provides you what you need. The universe is giving you clues. What is coming up in your life, in your experience, is really kind of the mirror of like what you need to face in the present moment for you to shift and grow and change, to get aligned with the experience you want to experience in wellness and health of mind, body, and soul, in life in general, how you feel in life. Like you came here to experience something so magical and amazing. And that comes with healing. That comes with healing of the body, of the mind, of shifting into your authentic way of life and stepping into your confident self, like getting your voice, like we can talk about aligning chakras, like all of these different elements that I really like to talk about. Like wellness is a journey unique to you. Wellness kind of comes up with what's going to work for you in that present moment. Like some people don't resonate with how they perceive life with chakras, but what resonates with them are these like, running marathons, triathlons, like that resonates with them. That is what is being presented in their reality. That's what they're pursuing. And that's what I mean. It's like, when you are choosing your unique way, when you're addressing like yourself, what is going to come into your life is like wellness kind of just manifests in what you need specifically. And that's what I found. It's like I didn't research anymore. I just kind of allowed things to come in. People in my life would just start talking about certain things. Like they were talking about, Kundalini. And I was like, I don't know what Kundalini yoga is, but everyone was talking about it. I was at my birthday in California. I was kind of like, ooh, a sound bath. I've never done that. Everyone in California is talking about that. And I know it was in California. And that's a thing. But like, I had never experienced that. I wasn't pursuing that. I wasn't seeking that. But that's what was coming up from an intuitive call for me to go to California. And that's really what expanded me in wellness of body, mind, and like spiritually, like conscious expansion, like my wellness journey in general. Like I follow intuitive calls. I focus on the present moment and things manifest in wellness for you that you no longer have to seek for what diet should I partake in? Like what wellness do I actually need to do? Like are ice baths for me? Like coming out of the control of things to like seek what is going to work for us, allow things to come to you. Allow yourself to focus on presence and, go through those details and you will recognize like things gradually shift for you. Your body will gradually heal itself if you focus on like what's really working for me. Like there were periods of time like I was vegan. I didn't feel good. I was bloated. I like was pale green. I always had headaches. Like it just wasn't working for me. I wasn't getting the proper nutrition. I'm vegan some days. That's fine. I follow myself in how the present moment is feeling in my body in life. Like everything is energy. Everything is going to tell you like what you need if you just allow it in. So with wellness, like with these things, I never partook in ice baths. I didn't know what they were. And we can view that like this is a new fad, this is a new thing. I can tell you, like, people I connect with, some people have never heard of ice baths. And that's what I mean, is like, we manifest what we perceive of life. And that is what comes into our experience. So with wellness, let things come in, like, for you. I never knew anything about like primal style of like fitness, like all of these new things. I was like, I'm open to new wellness, new things, breath works, nothing I partook in before. That manifested into my life. It's something people are talking about. I never partaken in that. And like with nutrition and stuff, like I never ate clean food. Clean food became natural to me when I actually shifted, elements of myself in the present moment and what I needed to change, which was really cool and amazing. And that is today's episode of Awaken Mindset, where we talk ice baths, about the present moment and your wellness rituals and how they're going to be unique to you and how it's okay to explore that, to do what works for you and understand that the present moment in wellness is going to give you everything that you need to elevate mind, body, and soul and just your life and way of being, which is really exciting. So I hope that you continue to do what inspires you, to push through the resistance of those limiting beliefs and to, explore what's new, seek community, seek support, and, build upon that to pursue wellness in a way that just feels good to you in all areas of life. And truly, that's my wish for you. So keep shining, lovely beings, and know that I believe in you in your unique way.